Check. Okie dokie. Let's get the beat going. Oh yeah, I don't have to do that anymore. This should be working. Okay, let me check real quick. Cool. Alrighty. Okay, I'm gonna, so I have 3 EQ plugins. The graphic EQ, which is like the 560, the parametric one, which is like the 550, and then the Pultec kind of one. So I'm going to combine those 3 into one plugin so that the user can use, you know, one of 3 at any given time. Zoe. Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to get started. I'm going to make a new project, or I'm going to make a new repo also. I don't even know what to call it. I'm just gonna call the repo Viator EQ. And let's start with the project. Why is it? I don't know why it asked me so many times. So we're gonna do new plugin. What am I gonna call this? Multi-queue? Maybe like that? So let's pull in the DSP module. And then I'll pull my module in. I'm gonna put that Vitor EQ. So let's pull my modules in. And while I'm here, I guess I'll add one for Windows. Static runtime. And that's it. Okay, so we're gonna go here. Make sure to do this because it's kind of a nightmare to try to do it afterwards. So Vitor DSP, yep. Multi-queue, sure, whatever. Yep, that looks like a project. Okay. Close all that nonsense, and I'm just gonna make a quick change and see if it builds. Okay, so I'll build it as standalone. And let's just see if it comes up with that text change. It's gonna take a while to build for the first time. Oh, here we go. Okay, there we go. So it works. I'm gonna go ahead and do an initial commit. And go ahead and publish this, and it won't be private, so everybody can go and look at it and download it. And now we can actually start. So it's a new project, so there's quite a bit of setup we got to do. I think the first thing I want to do is bring in my window component. So I think what I'll do is I'll go to the BT clipper, since that was one of the last things. Oh wait, wrong one. This one. And I'm gonna pull, there's a components, yeah, UI components, and then this one, yeah, I want this, the window. So I'm gonna just copy this and put it in here. So in source there, and I guess I'm gonna get rid of all the other things. I'm gonna be making components for each EQ model, but I don't know. I'll just do them from scratch. That should be good. Okay, so I should be able to go into here into source and add existing files and pull in that folder. Yep, there it is. Yeah, okay, and I should be able to build that. And let's see, is it in here? Yeah, UI components. Now, this is the one that, oh, I also need the assets folder. So let's go back to that. And I don't need all of this, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, assets. Because that's what has the image. Assets. Now maybe that error will go away. Yes, okay. I'm gonna get rid of. No, I'm gonna leave this comment in there just in case. Cool. So one thing to be able to use the window component is we also need a value tree that's going to hold the width and height of the plugin window so that we can save and recall the size of the plugin whenever it's open. So let's multi-queue. I need to go into BT Clipper. Just open up the juicer. Oh wow, opened up all the way. I need this. We need a variable tree. Of course, the formatting is terrible. And we need these two right here. Yep, window width and window height, okay. And that should be good. So if we look at the window component real quick, do I pass it the audio processor? Oh no, oh yeah, okay. So the width and height thing is not actually handled by the window. The window is basically just the image it looks like. Okay. So I should be able to go into here. And in fact, I mean, if this is just handling the image. Why did I even? Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna take this and put it in the editor right here. And I think if I say auto background in image cache, binary data, that should build. Yeah, okay, so this is working. This is just not the image that I wanted. So which one is it? Oh yeah, plug in background 2, right? Yep, that one. So let's see here. Plug in background 2. Plug in background 2 size. So that's going to be correct, but it's going to be really small. Right. And it also needs to be a rectangle. So just for an example, just make it like that and see what it looks like. Yeah, okay, so that works. So all we're doing is putting a image in with the paint method. So I'm just making a new image, caching it, getting the image from the assets folder through this binary data. And then I'm just doing a graphics class draw image within, starting it at X and Y 0 and making it the width and height of the plugin. And I use this stretch to fit. There's other options, but it seems like this works pretty well. Like you could do like centered, you can do, let's see if it'll autocomplete for me. Centered, do not resize, fill destination, stretch to fit, only reduce in size, blah, 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 all kinds of things. But stretch to fit usually works for me. So we do that. So the actual handling of the size of the window is done with, I have a UI methods folder. So if I go back right here, I can copy that. And I'll go into Viewtor EQ. Now it's gonna have a whole bunch of errors whenever I pull it in, but I'll take you through exactly what's going on. UI methods. One thing I know I'm gonna need is the class name of the project. Go to UI method, nope, UI methods. Probably not gonna, oh yeah, I am gonna have an oversampling menu, but yeah, whatever. So we need to change everything from a BT clipper to the multi-cue. I'll do that real quick and then show you the rest. Okay, so I basically have a file for the constructor stuff, a file for the paint, a file for resized. That just makes it to where if my code gets long, the plugin editor CPP won't be huge, because all I'll have to do is right here in the constructor call UI constructor, and then in the paint method call UI paint, resized, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. So let's make sure these are empty, because this is going to have stuff that is not going to work. So I'm going to get rid of everything, I guess. I'm going to leave init window because that's the stuff that I need. Paint, don't need paint right now. Or I guess, you know what I could do? I could move this out of here and put it in UI paint. Resize, I can get rid of all of that except for, I'm going to keep save window size. Save window size, yep. Okay, so basically all of these methods, I need to make a method for in the header. So I need, how is it? Yeah, just, okay. UI constructor. And then what is it called? Save window? Save window size. And then I need a bool called, what is it? UI constructor finished or something? Constructor finished. And that needs to be equal to false by default. And I'll show you what that means. Okay, so is that all of the stuff that doesn't have anything yet? UI paint. Oh yeah, UI paint has that. So I need a save window size. I have saved window size. Oh yeah, okay. So this is what the constructor finish is for. Okay, so I'm saving the plugin window size during UI resize because that's when the size changes, and that has to be last. So I'm gonna put all of the component drawing stuff before here, and you can see that I'm saying constructor finished, and I'm only saving the window size in the value tree if constructor finish is true, because I had some kind of weird issue where it just wasn't working, because I'm not 100% sure why, but because the constructor wasn't done, the value tree was having like garbage data in it for some reason. I don't really know why. So can I build this? Will this work now? One error. UI resize. Oh yeah. Do I even need this? You know what? I'm gonna try to do this without it, because I don't think I need that. That was something dumb that I did that I think is unnecessary. Oh, another failure. Init window. I'll put init windows. Looks like it's gonna build. Cool, okay. So the weird thing is, yep, that's still in there. I put it in the paint method. So let's take it out of the initial paint method, and we should see nothing. Right, because we haven't actually called any of these UI methods. So I am going to, for that, call UI constructor. And then paint is going to be UI paint. I'm going to pass it G for the graphics class. UI resized. And then let's see, where does init window go? I kind of forgot. Let's open up the BT Clipper real quick. Let's look at our UI methods. So the constructor. Okay, so just call init window first. Okay, makes sense. So let's put that in UI constructor. And let's build this and see if we get the image back. There we go. And it looks like the window size is correct. So by default, it should open to be like a quarter of the window size, which looks about right. Close enough, right? Yeah, that looks about right. Cool. So we got our window. We've got all of our stuff set up. So now anytime I need to do something in the constructor, I have a whole file for it, so that if it gets really long, it doesn't, you know, clutter up the boilerplate plugin editor file. And then same thing with UI paint and UI resized. Cool. Yeah, we could handle the saving and recalling of the window size. And while we're at it, we could do the audio processor value tree state. So let's go into here, and I usually just put it right here. So this is going to hold our audio parameters that are automatable. Value tree state, and I usually call it tree state. And it doesn't have a default constructor, or the default constructor is not what we need. So I'm going to just go right here, say tree state. processor to connect to this. Wait, is it asterisk disk? I always forgot. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Okay, and then I don't have an undo manager, so I'm gonna put null pointer. And then I usually call this parameters, and then this is gonna be parameter layout. So we need to create the parameter layout, and that we can do private because the GUI doesn't need to access it. So parameter layout, define it here. So it is a parameter layout which is inside of audio processor value tree state. So we need to create the parameter layout. So right here I can call create parameter layout. And then we actually need the parameter layout here in the file, which looks like this. Don't know why it was so slow. Let me copy the name over. So basically it gives you a vector that holds the parameters. You can create parameters and then push them to the vector, and then you're returning those parameters. Yep. Okay. So for me, I am gonna, I want to put one parameter there, just yeah, let me make a trim parameter because I know they're all gonna have a trim. So it needs an ID, which is going to be used for the plugin, like internally in the code, and then it needs a name, which is going to be displayed to the user in the automation data. So I usually do that by picking what I want to call it, making the ID the lowercase version, and making the name the uppercase version. So that's all good. We got a parameter layout. We also need, let's do our parameter changed method. So let's put that under here, parameter change. Let's define it. Yep. Parameter changed. It takes in a parameter ID and a new value. And you also need a listener, which is audio processor value tree state, I think. Like that. Cool. I need to copy the name over. And then now what's going to happen is whenever one of these parameters changes, this method is going to be called. And at any given point, you can check to see which parameter got changed and what the new value is, which is really handy. And the way to actually do that is to add listeners to each of the parameters. And we only have one, so I'll show you this one real quick. Did I put an add parameter in my buttons? No, I forgot. But that's okay. I'm just going to go to BT Clipper and grab it. I'm just to leave BT Clipper open. Cool. So it's tree state.add parameter listener. Yep. And then tree state.remove parameter listener. Easy enough. Yep. Tree state.add parameter listener. There we go. And it's going to be trim. And then we just say this. And then in the destructor, so that there's not a memory leak, we're going to remove it. And this is also going to be trim and this. And now we can test this to make sure it actually works. So in parameter changed, we can check to see which parameter it is. So parameter ID. Let's see if it's equal to trim. So anytime a parameter moves and it's the trim one, we're going to do something. So let's debug out to the console the value of the slider whenever we're checking it. So that's just new value. And this should run just like this. And this works in standalone if you want to just check your parameters. All right, there's no slider. We can actually check real quick. If we go down to this create editor, instead of returning the editor that we're creating with the project, we can return a generic one, which will create a generic UI, generic processor editor. It'll create a generic UI that is created for you based on the parameters that you give it. Oh, return new. That way we'll have a slider just so I can show you this this parameter changed thing. Right, so now we have a generic UI that was built with the audio parameters that we defined in the create parameter layout. So I should be able to do this. And when I move this, I should get the values. Look at that. Cool. All right. Simple. I'm just gonna comment that out because we might use it later. Let's do that. And I'm also gonna, since I'm right here, I'm just gonna get rid of this stuff. And we need to do our set state and get state, which is gonna be saving and recalling your parameters. This also isn't difficult. So get state is where you save the parameters. So this basically get state information gets called whenever you hit save in the host. So yeah. So what we're doing is we're gonna append the value tree, the regular one, this one, to this tree state right here, so that it gets saved with the tree state. And then we're making a memory output stream, and then we're writing that tree state to the stream. And then in set state, we just gotta get it. So recall parameters, here we go. Oh, that, and I need a curly brace. Right, so we're saying we're creating a tree from the data, and we're also finding the variable tree that we appended to the tree state. We're making sure that it's valid, and if it is valid, we're gonna do all of our stuff. So right now, the only thing we basically have is the window width and height. So with this, we should be able to build this, and we should be able to change the window size, and it will save it. So let's see if that works. And another thing that we can do, I'll just wait till that builds. We can set it up to where we could build and have Xcode attached to logic, so that while logic is running, Xcode will be monitoring the plugin in debug mode, and anything debug related that you do will be accessible. So if you have debug statements or assertions, those will happen while it's attached to logic, which is really handy. It's taking longer to build than I thought. Let me do that real quick. So you go to product, scheme, edit scheme, and right now it doesn't have an executable, so we're going to give it an executable to run, and that will be logic. And this could be Logic, Studio One, whatever. And then if you want to actually utilize that, you hit play instead of build. I'm just going to hit build real quick. And yep, that should be good. I'm gonna open logic and test this. I guess I'll create a new project for this. Let's get drum loop. Okay, so I'm gonna open it. So it should be VTOR DSP. Oh, I don't see it. See, I'm gonna save this. Multi-Q. Let me close Logic and reopen it and see if it appears. Sometimes, so when you build a project, Xcode automatically puts it in your user library in the plugin components folder. And sometimes Logic doesn't like it and wants it to be in the other folder. Sometimes it wants you to restart your computer if you want to use it in the other folder. So let me just see. Yeah, it's not happy. So sometimes all it takes is doing this. So this is where it puts it by default in the library that's prepended with the tilde. So audio, plugins, components, and here it is, multi-Q. So I'm going to move it to the other one, which is the one that whenever you install a plugin from a regular company, this is where it gets sent to. Yeah, so multi-Q, drop it in here and see if that makes a difference to Logic. Looks like it's, yeah, it scanned something. So let's see here. VTOR DSP, multi-Q right there. Okay. So let's grab that multi-Q, see if it opens. Boom. Okay, let's change the window size. So small, because we know that if the saving doesn't work, it won't open small like this. Look at that. That looks like it worked. Let's make it larger and save that. Yep, seems like it works. Very cool. So let's get rid of that and reinstantiate it because I don't want the window size to be messed up. Let's save it like that. And yeah, let's close it. I was just thinking something and I was like, I don't want to lose my thought, and I of course lost it. I was gonna say something. Oh, let's I think what I wanted to do was, since we moved it into that other folder, I wanted to see if making another build, if it actually like recognizes the difference. I'm trying to think, what could I do to, oh, I guess let's go back to the other, to the generic GUI, 'cause that should be obvious. Oh, so it does work. Okay, so I moved the alias to that other folder and it seems to remember it. That's good. Good to know. Okay. So I guess this is a good spot to commit. Let's see. So what have I done? Basic project setup with window, with plugin background, and let's see, plugin background, parameter layout, and window size recall. That seems like a good commit. And we like to play things dangerously here, so I'm just on main, I'm just pushing. Chat is real quiet today. Awesome. Let's see. What's next? Oh, so basically what I think I want, let me just build it standalone real quick. Just open it. Okay, so basically what I'm gonna do is I want to have my 3 plugins in one plugin and make them switchable. So I think what I'm gonna do is have like a radio button thing right here where it's like 3 of them, and you'll toggle which EQ you want to use, whether it's graphic, parametric, or tube. So I've actually done that already for Dark Star, the amp that I was gonna start making that I kind of got away from. I don't really know why. So let me open up that real quick. Let's see here, Dark Star right there. So let's see. So yeah, I got Viator GUI push button, and I got the 3 buttons. Okay. So now's a good time. I'm about to start putting UI elements. Now's a good time to think, maybe, do I actually want a window component? The thing is, these 3 buttons seem kind of like a global thing, you know, so I think maybe I'll have them on the main. Yeah, let's start with that. Okay. Let's, as we go, I'm gonna try to stay as organized as possible so that if anybody actually... Oh, nice, Eric. You'd be surprised how easy it is to make. I'm gonna be using my own filter that I've made, but you can just use a Juice IIR filter, which is the way I made my first EQ. And you can just, because the Juice IIR filter has, you can change the gain, the cutoff, stuff like that. So all you have to do is call a Juice IIR filter, and however many you want. If you want a 4-band EQ, have 4 of them, and just have the UI control the basic methods. Yeah. So what is this? This is boilerplate UI stuff. Okay, and then let's start right here. Should I say global? Let's say global EQ choices. That's going to be these buttons. So Viator GUI is my module that I made, and I have these push buttons that I've made. So I'm going to have, let's see, I'm going to have a graphic EQ, a parametric EQ, and then the tube EQ. And if I remember correctly, all I have to do is call, like is radio, right? So if I say, right. So I got to add and make visible, of course, for just like any other button, and then set the button text, and then set radio group ID. So by default, a juice text button is not part of a radio group. But if you call set radio group ID and then give it which number in a theoretical group that it's in, it'll turn it into a radio button, which is nice. So let's just go into the editor and yes, UI constructor. Okay. Init window, I think I normally do first. That would make sense. Yeah. first. Okay, so I'm gonna say choice buttons, and I'm gonna say add and make visible. So we've got the graphic button. Yeah, okay. Graphic EQ dot set button text, and this is gonna say graphic. And then we're gonna say set radio group ID, and this is gonna be number 1. Cool. And I am just going to copy and paste the other 2. So this is gonna be para EQ. Parametric, and then we got tube. And then all we have to do is put them on the screen, and we'll be able to test to make sure that the radio button functionality works. So let's go into UI resized. And yeah, so everything in the resized function is going to happen before the save window size. So I'm going to make some variables that are going to make laying these components out a little easier. So we've got a left margin. Oh, wait. Yeah, I'll still do it that way. Okay. Left margin. You know what? I'm going to want to be able to use a margin for the components, like the EQ components themselves, and then a different margin for the buttons. So I'm going to say left button margin. And this is going to be around the center somewhere. So I'm going to say get width. And then maybe a little bit left of the center. So the width times 0.04. And then I'm going to say top button margin is equal to get height. And that's going to be really low. We're just going to have to play with that number until it works. So I'm going to say that. And then let's actually call the buttons. Okay, so now this looks like graphic EQ means the component itself. Okay, so I'm going to rename these. I'm going to rename graphic EQ refactor rename, so it'll rename all instances of it. Come on. Okay. Q, and then I'm going to say button. And do the same thing for the other 2. Okay, now we shouldn't be too confused. The graphic EQ button dot set bounds. So we're going to give the left margin, the top margin. Oh, and we're going to need a button width and height. Okay. Button width is equal to, I don't know, let's say get width times 0.15. Auto button height is equal to button width divided by 2. And the reason I'm using get width and height for these variables is that as the window size changes, those variables will also change, which will make our components resize. So, yep, good, okay. And then the good thing is I can put the other ones here. And if their positions need to change, all I'll have to do is edit one of the variables. So let's do error EQ button, tube EQ button, and we want to make sure that each consecutive button is on the end of the previous one. So for the second one, I have to say graphic EQ button dot get X plus graphic EQ button dot get width, and I will put it immediately at the edge of the previous one. So I'll copy that, put that in the X of the next one, and then we have to use the para button for this one. And that should be good. Now we can check to see if our measurements are anywhere near correct, and then edit them as we need. Actually, not too bad. So the left needs to change, okay, and then the height needs to come down quite a bit. Okay, so left, let's do maybe 3 and change this to 8. I also think it was a little, the buttons themselves were a little too big. Ah, pretty close. Oh, but the radio functionality isn't working. Did I mess that up? Yeah, you just use a filter for each EQ band. And if you use IR filters, the CPU usage will be pretty low, and if you use FIR filters, the CPU usage will be higher. But yeah. Let's see. What did I do wrong about the radio group? Here's Dark Star. Set radio group ID. Yeah, I thought, sometimes when you're mixing, you're like, oh, I'm gonna try this EQ, and then you're like, okay, well, let me turn that one off and pull in a different one. Let me choose that one. This one, hopefully I'll add these, and it'll be the ones that I have already, so it'll be 3 options that people can use, so they don't have to load in other plugins. And then as I make other EQs, I could probably just add them to this plugin as another component. And then, once I have more than 3, I think the buttons won't make sense. Maybe use like a menu or something. But yeah. What is up with this? Add make visible, set radio group ID. Actually, let me just open up this Dark Star project. Make sure it builds. Oh, and there are errors, of course. Oh wait, is it because I've changed things in the Viator modules? Oh, a whole lot of stuff is different. Yeah, it's not even going to be worth it to try to do that. So let's see. I guess the simplest thing I can do, set radio group ID. Set radio group ID. Okay, the simplest thing I can do is move these out of this method and just put it directly in here. and see if that's an issue for some reason, because every once in a while a weird thing like that will come up. Okay, what happens if I don't use the Viator GUI? What happens if I use the regular text button? Okay, it's working. Hold up, let's see. It could be a thing with, let's see. What if I explicitly say graphic EQ button set clicking toggle state true? So let's try that before the set radio group, and if that doesn't work, let's try it after it. Wait a minute. Wonder if it's just my colors. My colors messed up. Let's see. Oh, GUI. That's what I mean. Push button. Okay. Well, hold up. Let's make sure they toggle with the correct colors before I dig in there and change the way the colors are handled. So they're not radio IDs. Okay, so they're working correctly. So that shouldn't be the issue. Okay, what if I go into here? Widgets, push button. What if, let me take out set clicking toggle state. I'm gonna put it in explicitly. Right before calling set radio group. See if that makes a difference. Man, this is so weird. This didn't happen in the Dark Star project. Set radio group ID. Okay, what happens if I do this? Because this was in the Dark Star project and it was just commented out. Well, that's weird. That shouldn't be the issue because when I had a regular button, okay, well, this is the only, I mean, everything else is just colors. So, I mean, it shouldn't mess it up, right? So weird. The whole point of this was set radio group ID should be simple, but I don't know why I'm having an issue. Very cool. Lost connection to the debugger. So weird. Maybe it is my colors. Let's go to juice. See, text button. Okay. I have an extra color ID. So maybe that's it. Okay. So 100, which is the first one, is button color ID. And instead of using that code, I'm going to go in here and is that what it is? Button on. No, it should be button color ID. Which one is on? On is 101. So this one looks like not anything. Text color off. Oh, so that one was actually button color. Oh, why? I don't know why I didn't call it the first time. Okay, C 1000. I don't know what that is. That's weird. 102 is text color on. No, text color off. Text color on. Okay. Let's see if that makes a difference. Okay, so apparently that other one was the border color. So the problem isn't the colors. Actually, let's still use this class, but get rid of everything. So even though we're inheriting from this class, everything is default. Yeah, so I think it has something with calling this class. So maybe what we could do is in the constructor require an int for actually is radio button and then int radio ID. And then what we'll do is go back to say set clicking toggle state true. That, and then what we'll also say is okay. Just did all that. I don't know if it makes a difference. So let's go here and let's go here and say graphic 1 era EQ button true, which is 2 EQ button. Oh, forgot the comma. 2 EQ button, which is true, and 3. Does that make a difference? Oh, wait. Make visible. So get rid of this. And that. And that. Does that make a difference? Of course not. I don't understand why it's not toggling off. Because in Darkstar, I'm not doing anything special. The button text, set radio group ID. Those are commented out. I mean, the only thing I could do is move it. I have no idea why this isn't working. They're not toggling off. So, yeah. I'm gonna go back and put all that stuff back in. I don't actually want to put that by default in this class. I don't think it's necessary. Not something I do a lot of, so let's get rid of that. Go back here, get rid of this. Now there's no constructor. And what happens if I just have the first one be a radio? Oh, okay. So it's not toggling off at all. Wait, I don't need that. Yeah, it's not toggling off. And what's weird is there's nothing specific. Like there's nothing special going on. It's very simple. Did something happen? Did they change the way it works? Okay, well, for now, what I'll do, say juice text button, because that seems to work. It almost looks like it's working. Oh wait, let's do this. Hold up, let me move this down. Add make visible. Oh, this is weird. What? Oh. We need a set clicking toggle state, graphic EQ button, set clicking toggle state true. Software development. Oh, wait. Do they all need to be the same number? Am I dumb? Oh, I'm so dumb. Wait, why did that work in the Dark Star one? Oh, man. Oh, man. So they all need to be, that makes sense. They all need to be part of a radio group. And the reason you can change is because you can have different groups of buttons. Man, okay. That's rough. So, okay, get rid of that, go into UI constructor, uncomment that out, make sure they're all part of one, make sure they are all Viator, GUI, push button, go, let me make sure push button's okay, that looks fine. Oh man, I wasted so much time with that. I'm so dumb. Okay. Anyway. Okay. So let's position them in a better way. So let's do, I gotta push them over to the right a little bit and then down a tiny bit. Well, I'm sorry I wasted so much time with that. Let's see, left button margin, push it over by like a smidge, and then it needs to go down just a tiny bit. Too far down and not enough to the right. That looks pretty good. Cool. So what we're gonna have is whenever one of these buttons is on, that component is going to be visible. But then we're gonna have to think about how we're gonna handle that on the audio side, because this is gonna be just UI. So like, if I switch to parametric, the parametric EQ is up. I hit save. Well, no, I mean, I'm just gonna have a variable in the audio processor. I'm gonna have probably a process method for the graphic EQ, the parametric EQ, and the tube EQ, and then just check which one is on and do that. And then the parameter saving and recalling doesn't really matter, because we're going to be saving and recalling parameters that we don't need, that aren't going to be used. But it doesn't really matter because, you know, it's not like there's going to be millions of them. It's only going to be like, you know, 10. So it's not going to mess with the performance like at all. Zoe just refuses to not sit on me. Okay, so we can start building out the components pretty easily. Yeah, so let's start with the graphic EQ. Zoe. Okay, so let's see. How am I going to do this? So in UI components, let's go into the producer. So in multi-Q, inside of UI components, we're going to make a couple new component class. So this is going to be graphic EQ. I guess component. Okay. We're going to have parametric EQ component. And then we're going to have a tube EQ component. And that's going to keep things real organized, and it's going to be pretty nice. So right now, these components are just empty. They're not going to look like anything. They're not going to have anything. And we can test this. Like, let's take the graphic EQ, right? And the graphic EQ is going to have 10 faders, right? So we can just say Viator GUI fader. And then we can say, I don't know, band 1. And then we can do the same thing. You know what I need to do? I need to go into Xcode and figure out how to make a duplicate down. Oh, it did it, but it put it in the wrong spot. Wait. Yeah, so it looks like it puts it in the wrong spot. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that and then assign it to my Stream Deck. Okay, so we're gonna put 10 sliders. Okay, and I'm not gonna be super. Oh, I forgot. Yeah. So let's do the constructor right here in line. Okay, so it's gonna be gain. So it's gonna be dB. The label is gonna be gain. They're all gonna say gain. They're gonna be, I think they're -12 to 12. The interval is, you can make the interval small. And then the reset point is going to be 0. So that would actually work for all of them. They can all have the same. Right, and this is the 560, so I'm not gonna have a gain and a cutoff. I'm just gonna have gain, so this will work for that. If we go into the component here, we are gonna say what? Probably fine. That should build, right? That error will go away. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes Xcode just doesn't refresh fast enough. Okay, that's not gonna show up. I'm gonna get rid of the stuff in the paint method. We're probably not gonna need it. So let's add and make visible all of the faders. Band 1. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh wait, did I say 10? Okay. And then I guess we could kind of reuse the variables from resized. So, yep. And then just make them fit whatever we need. So go into resized. So I'm just gonna say left margin and top margin. And then this is gonna be fader width, fader height. Let's see, fader height is the most important one. So let's see. The left margin needs to be farther, probably something like that. The top margin needs to be something more like that also. Fader height is gonna be, let's say, get height times 0.7. And then the width is gonna be fader height. Let's see, needs to be a lot shorter, maybe times 2.5. Cool, and then let's just start saying this band 1. That's set bounds. It's gonna be left margin, top margin, fader width, and fader height. And then the same thing with the buttons. We're just gonna copy and paste and then say get X plus get width. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you'll see that having this Viator module makes this a million times faster. Just having a couple of, GUI modules and stuff. Okay. So this is gonna be band1.get x plus band1.get width. And that's going to be the same for the rest of them, but offset by 1. And that should be good enough. So now we have a component that is 10 faders, and they're laid out kind of randomly. I don't know what it's going to look like, but yeah, so they're taking up basically the entire local bounds, which means that all we have to do is go into the main plugin. Oh wait, why is just noticed that tube EQ is not inside of components. Okay, so we're gonna go into here, and we're gonna have to include that graphic EQ component. But it's gonna be inside of UI components, and then it's gonna be graphic EQ component. Yep, and then graphic EQ component. Come on. On Xcode. There we go. Okay. So now we have an instance of that graphic EQ component. Yep. So we just need to call add make visible and resize like normal. So we go into UI constructor. And I guess it really doesn't matter. So we'll say graphic EQ component. Then we'll go into resized and we'll say graphic EQ component dot set bounds. And what we want is that to be kind of inside the largest portion of the UI. So I probably need to make, actually X and Y probably will work because I already have a margin inside of the component. And then is it maybe just get width and get height? Actually, you know what? What if I just put get local bounds? Get local bounds. Let's see what that looks like. It'll probably be off, but we could probably go edit it in the component. Yeah, okay, so they're there. They appear. Yeah, so using the Viator GUI module, I mean, look how nice these faders look. Pretty cool. So let's do a couple things. It looks like the X might be good. But you know what? I also need I'm gonna need a drive and a trim, which is annoying. That's not gonna fit. So these are gonna need to be much smaller. So first of all, the top margin needs to come down by a bit. So maybe by 1.5. Yeah, it looks about right. This needs to come down by quite a bit. That looks about right. Oh, but you know what? I almost have space for the other thing. So let me make them a little bit smaller. So like 5, 5, and then I'll push them over just a little bit. Okay. Actually, let's see. Put that back to 6 and see what that looks like. Yeah, it's just not big enough. It's decent. I could probably make the thumb sliders a little bigger. I could do that in the style sheet. So I need to push them over on the x-axis just a little bit because this is too close right here. So what does 8.5 look like? Didn't really seem to do much. Okay, that's decent, but what does this look like whenever it gets small? Oh, that's okay. All right. The numbers are squished a little bit. It's just having 10 faders is kind of annoying. Oh, the numbers are squished even at their normal size. So this is gonna mess up the positions, right? If I make them wider. Yeah. This is kind of the hard part, is deciding what makes more sense. I could just make them shorter so that the first 5 are right here and the second 5 are below them. That's a possibility. And then I could make them wider. Because it's just, whenever it's negative, the number gets a little squished because of the width. And then I go here, you know, obviously that's bad. So I think having them on top of each other might make sense. But yeah, okay. Let's see, it's almost 7:30. It's about the time I need to get off. So let's see where we're at. Let me make a commit. Positions, graphic faders need to do 5 on top, 5 on bottom. Okay. Yeah, so when we come back, which will be Thursday, I will... Where's the window at? Oh, here we go. I will try putting them 5 on top, 5 at the bottom. And actually, I think I'll do that before, so that whenever I come back and stream, I'll have the 5 on top, 5 on bottom, and the 2 dials for the drive and trim. And then just to see if it works, and if it doesn't work, I'll come up with something else, just so that each stream is a little more meaningful. And I think that laying out components isn't super, like, I mean, it's helpful if you're starting out, but I mean, I'm sure that most people know how to lay components out. So I think I'll just make it look a little prettier, because that really takes up the most time, is styling things. So I think I'll do that on my own, and then come back with the stream and make sure it works. And yeah, I'll need to implement, like, what I want is when you open the plugin, graphic will be chosen, and then if you move to parametric, this component gets set as disabled, and then the parametric one gets set as enabled. And then same thing with the tube EQ. But yeah, I think that's it. So I'll come back Thursday, about 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. This will go up on YouTube if you want to go look at it. Also, if you're not in our Discord, we've got the Viator DSP Discord and the audiovisual community Discord. So you can find the links for that in the Twitch bio. You can also find that, where else can you find that? Oh, I mean, you can find it in the description of all of my previous YouTube videos. So yeah, thanks for watching. I will be back on Thursday, and hopefully not waste as much time as I do with the radio button thing. So thanks for watching. See you next time.